Yes. We did prompt you to think of other ways to be able to reach out, to be able to support individuals. You know, many are too scared to channel for themselves because of insecurities that they were villains in other lifetimes, or that they were not significant as they had hoped. What if they did have basic potato picking lives? How could they then use their egos to use their spirituality cloaks to pander and to prompt themselves and promote themselves to others when they are truly concerned that their egos have made their positions and their belief of self to be too bigger than the truth? So we see why many people are not wanting to channel for themselves their other lifetimes and who they are. This lifetime is a distraction because they are not proud of who they are or how they think and feel, and why they feel stuck with certain family members and friends and positions in this world. They feel more significant than who they are in this lifetime. And this is frustrating. This is embarrassing for them and somewhat an annoyance. And so they are often thinking of off world experiences and placing themselves with more control and leverage and nobility and positioning of leadership and controlling many and being a leader to all. This gives them a distraction because they are placing themselves in that fantasy more than the reality that they're living in this lifetime. They do not see that if they did some adjustments of ego and to empower themselves, they could be a profound leader, a lighthouse this lifetime, which they are supposed to be. But it looks like too much work for them, and they're not too sure if they are really wanting to put in the effort. They're just wanting the title and the ego that goes with being a leader versus actually doing the work to become one. So they have this struggle. So we would like you to reach all people who need to have a conversation about what's really going on with them. They are very confused why they are not bigger beings here on this earth in this lifetime. They're very confused of what is their responsibilities and what isn't. And they're not motivated themselves to see some behaviors and some belief systems that are very limiting to them. They have accidentally, blindly followed and trusted fake influencers who have another agenda. And so they are happy, they think, to be marinated in that information and perspectives, and quite comfortable living in fear versus living in empowerment. Those influences that are distracting many are not empowering people. They are adding a lot of fear-based information that people are not realizing. They want to have a victim, and they want to have the boogeyman. They need to have something that is responsible for their density, for their lack of being an influential, empowered person. When those people are struggling to identify who they are in this lifetime and they feel insignificant, they want to then blame other species for their limited lives, their lack of love, their lack of empowerment, their lack of influence this lifetime. So they don't realize that while they are holding a lot of fear-based disinformation, they are purposely creating lack and not empowering themselves in the name of the boogeyman, in the name of other collectives that are trying to steal their energy and manipulate them. They do not realize that they are making these excuses to not empower themselves. And they are feeling very hard done by, that they are not as influential, potentially not as wealthy, not as famous, not as respected, not as loved, not as appreciated as they feel entitled to do and be. And we say everyone is very capable of having everything that they truly desire, but it must be because they have worked for it. Being entitled is one thing, but actually working towards that, to be that with all full sincerity, seems to be a disconnect. You know that you must achieve and work towards that journey if that is what you seek truly. And many people have not done any inner work and yet still expect to be an influence, an advisor, a teacher, a leader, and yet they have no skill sets to lead the way apart from more fear-based information, which is disinformation, which feels very dense and a very stark contrast to empowerment. It is all your free will to play in that density. But we notice that some are starting to question if this now serves them. It is a big step for them to have trust and faith that they're not victims to anything but themselves, that they are only capable of empowering themselves when they choose to empower themselves, when they let go of fairy tales of monsters and negative beings there to destroy you, when you realize that you're the one destroying you, you're the one that is holding yourself back and nothing else, and no one else. It is all your choices and perceptions. But when you feel that it is too hard to be of honor, to be of service, to be able to be loving and see things from a positive perspective, this is when we say to you, you are needing more support because you are too much playing in the density and you are almost sulking now because you feel so entitled, because you know your soul is greater than this life you are living. And so we ask for you all to have an adjustment of your perceptions of who you are, what you're doing here, and how you're going. You chose these life contracts. So what are you doing with your free will now that you're living these lifetimes? Are you stepping up and knowing that you believed in yourself so much and that you knew you were so capable, that you're being pushed and driven by your own teams to remind you who you are? Remembering who you are and why you came here is a significant thing. It seems like an interesting experience for many big souls to come here and self-sabotage from lack of their own belief of self. This is significant time to remembering and see if you can, if you will accept this term, you're testing yourself. You're testing your soul's capability to trust self and empower self. And it's for the soul's experience, and when the soul leaves these lifetimes and reflects back on their own tests they gave themselves, it is up to each individual soul to see how their results were. Did they fail this test or did they succeed? It's no one else is judging the test and the results. But when you came here to be of service, when you came here to help support many who are not realizing the game you're playing and the test that is unfolding in front of you, this is a harder challenge. We're asking you to question yourself, to look at all your behaviors and routines and distractions. Be honest with yourself. And we say this with much love.